His divine grace, Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Sri Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Scarborough Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Patita Pavana, save the fallen souls, Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnu Pad Paramahamsa Parivajakacharya Ashtadharjadashi Shimad. His divine grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Ramsaka Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Narakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamana Mai ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gora Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi, Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale. Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini. Nirvishesha Shunyamadi Pushtashi Deshatari. Harmonium came too late. Better late than never. I'm requested to speak. Stop worrying and start living. So, first we will beg the mercy of the great acharyas so we can speak according to their versions of what it means to stop worrying and start living. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So, what is implied by the title of the lecture? Stop worrying and start living. What is implied is that our present state is we are worrying, we are not living. Another implication is that if you worry, you're dead. True life means without worries. So here we are in a death-like state of anxiety. That is our present position. And so what is the hope of coming out of this death-like state of worries? The good news is this. There are two types of states. There is this natural state and the unnatural state. The good news is this. The death-like state of anxiety, in which one is full of so many worries, so many anxieties, torturing the brain day after day, week after week, year after year, is the unnatural state. In the state of bliss, the state of free from anxiety, the Vaikuntha consciousness, that true living state that is natural. In other words, it's natural to be alive, and it's unnatural to be dead. Now what does that imply? It's natural to be alive and unnatural to be dead. That implies that we're actually not robots, after all. Do you know the scientists say that you're not really a person? You know that? If you actually analyze what the scientists are saying, you're not a person, you're just a robot. Their vision of the whole universe is mechanistic. The whole thing is just a machine. Chemical interactions. There's no actual persons in there. It's kind of interesting because they say we're only chemicals, but the chemicals still worry. How can chemicals worry? You ever heard of a chemical, a worried chemical? So this whole conception that they have we're only chemicals doesn't make any sense. It's an unnatural. So what it really boils down to, if you analyze it to the most, the most precise analytical way, what it really boils down to is we're in anxiety because we're misidentifying ourselves with that with which we are not. In other words, we are actually cognizant primeval particles of indestructible, indivisible, infinitesimal anti-material energy. Or we say in Sanskrit, Atma. In scientific jargon, we can say, primeval, cognizant particle, indivisible, infinitesimal, indestructible, anti-material energy. Or the jiva, the soul, we can say it simply. So, the only reason we're in anxiety is because we're misidentifying ourselves with these chemicals. What is the first thing you hear when you come out of the womb? It's a boy! It's a girl! Wow! Isn't it? Of course, we don't understand the language at that time, but that's the kind of talk that's going on. And then as we grow up, we can learn, they say, be a good little boy, be a good little girl. Now, but you're not the body. So, just like you have that kind of a red sweatshirt on, you see. And I told you, now you be a good sweatshirt. Whatever you do, you must be a good sweatshirt. Well, I'll try. But how can you be a good sweatshirt? I mean, that instead puts you in anxiety. I'm telling you to be something that you're not, so how can you be something you're not? Now you be a good sweatshirt. Whatever you do, you gotta be a good sweatshirt, you see. Well, I'll try, sir, but I'll try. You want me to do it? Okay, I'll try to be a good sweatshirt. So the point is, we're being taught to try to be something that we're not. And that's a natural, you're naturally put into anxiety just by the very identity that they pin you with. They stick you with an artificial identity from the very beginning of your existence in this particular life, you see. They stick you with it. And it's natural you're going to be an anxiety. It's natural. Because we're trying to be something that we're not. This whole culture is based on this nonsense. We're trying to be something. We're trying to be this body when it's simply a garment we're wearing. It's a great travesty of justice that such a wholesale lie is being shoved down the throats of everybody on this planet. Millions and billions of people are being duped and cheated. No wonder people are so much anxiety. And they say, well, if you want to be happy, you gotta have some money. You gotta have a nice house. You have to have all these material facilities to be happy. But it didn't make any sense to me when I remember I went off to college. It didn't make any sense. Here I was in a pretty good school, small liberal arts school. Studying hard, making good grades. I was on the dean's list regularly for the top students. And it didn't make sense. Here I am working hard to make good grades, to get a good degree, to get a good job, to get a good wife, to get a good house, to get a good car, to get some good kids, and get a good coffin, a velvet-lined coffin, with good flowers once a year, so I forget about it. It just doesn't jive, it doesn't work. Doesn't make any sense. What am I doing this for? What is this struggle every day, going to the classes, studying the books, buying the papers, taking the notes, all of this endeavor for what? For nothing. For a stupid coffin, that's all. Is it? So, that's why we're in anxiety. We're not being taught properly who we are. And then they have all these psychologists and the psychiatrists, you see. Oh, you're in anxiety, here, we'll give you some antidepressant drugs to free you of your anxiety. Do they become free from anxiety by taking the antidepressant drugs? No. They become addicted to the drugs for life. They can't live without the drugs. You see? Of course, the pharmaceutical companies are making billions of dollars of profit off of all the people who are becoming addicted for life to these drugs, which don't give them anxiety at all. So we live in a culture which is based on ignorance. The whole culture is based on nescience. And as long as you remain in nescience, you must be in anxiety. You may say, but isn't it said that ignorance is bliss? That's true for the people who are completely in ignorance. Ignorance is bliss. People who think that shopping at Walmart is a perfection of their life. Yeah, ignorance is bliss. Do they have Walmart in Canada? Yeah. Yeah, when I go to Walmart, I get really enlivened. If you think shopping at Walmart is bliss, then you can have your bliss, Walmart bliss. But an intelligent person, he's not satisfied with that kind of bliss. Not satisfied with that kind of bliss. An intelligent person actually analyzes, why am I suffering? You see, he's in a better position than the person who thinks he's happy. In other words, the person who's in a state of illusory happiness, that's the worst, that's the lowest state of consciousness you can have. someone who realizes, hey, I'm suffering here. Why am I suffering? He's in the higher state of consciousness. Even though he's tortured by his anxieties, he's seeking a way out of them. So his position is better. He realizes this material world is a suffering position. And he's looking for the answers. You see, the person who thinks he's happy, of course his happiness is fully dependent on all these material conditions. As soon as he loses his job, he's in complete anxiety. You see. He thinks, well, I have a job, I have money, I have my material sense gratification, therefore I'm happy. But that happiness is based on a temporary situation which can be finished at any minute. So the person who realizes this temporary happiness is useless. It's just a facade. It's not real. He's in a better position. Because that person then can seek out what is the actual means of happiness. What is the actual state? You see, it doesn't make sense that God would be so cruel to give us an existence which is simply miserable. It really doesn't make sense at all. You think how beautiful a lotus flower is, you see. There's so much beauty in nature, you see. And if nature is so beautiful, how life can be so ugly? It doesn't make sense. If there's so much beauty in a sunrise or a beautiful mountain scene, a forest, there's so much beauty actually within the creation. It doesn't make sense that life itself will be miserable. You see what I'm saying? There seems to be something beautiful and wonderful to existence. So to be in a state of anxiety is not beautiful, it's not wonderful. So there's something unnatural, something wrong about that state of anxiety. So the intelligent person analyzes this. He said, something's going wrong here. Something is not right. Something needs to be adjusted. You see, something needs to be fixed. I sense that there's a higher state of consciousness, completely free from anxiety, and now I'm not there. Now how can I get from this state of anxiety to that state free from anxiety? Such a person will become serious then to know what is the way out of the anxiety. He is helped by a very special person. That person is called Chaitya Guru, the spiritual master within the heart. In other words, the Paramatma, who is sitting there in your heart, accompanying you through millions and millions of lifetimes. He knows when you're ready. He knows everything about you, every thought, every feeling, every aspiration. He knows you intimately well. You see. So when you are actually serious to get out of this suffering condition, you see, what happens? Brahmanda Brahmite Konya Bhagyavanji Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhaktilata. That spiritual master within your heart, he manifests externally as the spiritual master, without. And then by the mercy of that external spiritual master and the internal spiritual master, Krishna himself, you get a seed called Bhaktilata Bij, the seed of the Bhakti creeper within the heart. That Bhakti creeper then gives you a channel or a means of actually escaping the world of anxiety and regaining your original position in this transcendental existence beyond all anxiety. What about in the meantime? No, here I am in the material world, I haven't gone back to Godhead yet. What about my present situation, one might ask? I have to go to work on Monday morning, I have bills to pay, I have kids to drop off at school, I have so many things. What about my present position? The idea of going back to Godhead and the transcendental world, sure, I can understand. What about now? How can I get out of anxiety right now? You see, one might ask. Do I have to wait until I go back to Godhead and just keep suffering until then? Or can I actually become completely blissful? Brahmabhuta prasanatmana sochati nakamshati samak saveshu bhuteshu madbhaktem labate padam. Can I get that state now? You see. Do I have to wait or can I get it now? Well, the good news is you get it right now. You can kiss all your worries goodbye. Give up your love affair with Maya Devi. Right now. You can do it right now. Krishna is not only in the spiritual world, but Krishna is present wherever one is absorbed in purely serving Him. You want to be free from anxieties? Krishna is waiting right now. You don't have to die and go back to God to get that state of free from anxieties. You can get it right now. Immediately. You just have to be fully convinced. You're not your body. Krishna is the Lord of everything. And now I must fully surrender to Krishna. From now on, my every thought, my every word, my every deed, in all times, places, and circumstances will be simply for Krishna's pleasure and for no other purpose. Now I completely give up sense gratification and think of only one set of senses to please, the senses of Krishna. We don't have to give up sense gratification, we just have to gratify somebody else's senses. Instead of gratifying your senses, gratify Krishna's senses. You have to find out what pleases Krishna. You say, but I want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it. How you can tell me I have to give up my enjoyment? How will I be happy if I give up my enjoyment? You see? That's why we're in anxiety. Because we think we're these bodies, and because we're trying to satisfy these bodies who we are not, therefore we're in anxiety constantly. You understand? Therefore we have to water the roots instead of watering the leaves. You see that? As long as you're serving your body as the basis of your happiness, you're watering the leaves. You're not watering all the leaves, you're watering a few of the leaves on the gigantic universal tree. You're not watering the root, you're just watering the leaves. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the tree if you only water a few leaves? You're starving the tree. Or the other example is the body eating, you see. My hand needs some nutrition. So what do? I just stick my hand in the rice and squeeze the rice in the fingers and try to get some nutrition. Doesn't work, does it? You have to take the hand, you have to put the rice in the mouth so that the body can... So as long as we try to enjoy independently from Krishna, which our senses are screaming at us that we must do this, you must gratify me. Senses are screaming at us. You must gratify me. Do you understand the senses demand? The eyes, the ears, the tongue, the belly, the genitals, they're screaming, you must satisfy me. Do you understand? If you don't, you're going to be in trouble. The senses are screaming. Well, you have to ignore that scream. You got to ignore that scream. You have to hear from the great authorities, Srila Vyasadeva, Narad Muni, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Siska Swami. You have to hear from the great authorities, Srila Prabhupada. Those who are purely presenting the teachings of Srila Prabhupada. You have to hear from the great authorities. What is the actual means of happiness? Otherwise, you're just playing Russian roulette. We have to hear from the authorities. Tamasima, Jyotirgama. Do not remain in darkness. Come to the light. Stop trying to serve your senses. Sarva padima nirmuktam tattvaradena mevalam vishikena vishikesha sevanam bhakti. Give up all these designations. I'm a man, I'm a woman, I'm black, I'm Canadian, I'm Indian, I'm American. Give up all these upadis. Tattvaradena nirmalam. Become completely purified of all the dirt. Nirmala, see. Get that mala near the mala. Get it out. Clean out the dirt in the heart, the lust, the anger, the greed, the madness, the illusion, the envy. Get that junk out of your heart. Get it out. Just get it out. It's useless. It's garbage. It's doing nothing but torturing you. Get it out of your heart. And become situated in your action like that. You have to have faith in the words of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jivera Sarupa Hai Krishnara Nityadas. We have to put our faith in Lord Gauranga's words. Rani Tamasara Krishna. And then we engage ourselves in serving the Lord of the senses of Rishikesh. And by this service we become liberated, Jiva Mukta, liberated souls. You can be a liberated soul even right now. Even while you're a householder, earning a living, or a brahmachari, or whatever you may be. You can be a liberated soul right here, right now. You just have to be fully convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and you're the eternal servant, and fully involve yourself in His service. If there's any questions, you can be writing them down, because we have questions in a few minutes. The papers are passed around, so if you have any questions, write them down.
I can ask you a question.
It's really a matter of developing an attraction for Krishna. That's what we really have to do. We have to develop an attraction for Krishna. Yes?
I have a question.
Question,
You
okay.
said get all this lust, greed, anger, you should get it out. I said get out of your heart, but we already have all those desires within the heart and the hate, so how to get those things out of it?
How to get that crud out of your heart, all the lust, the anger, the greed, the madness, illusion, and envy. How do we get that out of the heart?
Those are because we have all those are there because we have so many desires, so how to get rid of
Okay,
it?
I understand your question. Very nice, I appreciate your question very much. It's a very good question, thank you. How do you get free from all those kinds of dirty desires in the heart? All that contamination in the heart. How do you detach yourself from all of this crud that's sitting there, accompanying all that unnecessary luggage you've been carrying for millions of lifetimes? How do you detach yourself from that? It's very simple. We don't actually tell you you should detach yourself from it. We simply tell you this: you must become attached to Krishna. That's all. Just to become attached to Krishna. If you're being bombarded with material desires, that means you're not attached enough to Krishna. You have to increase your attachment to Krishna. You see, that's the key. How to become more, and every day I should be thinking, how can I become more and more attached to Krishna? at every minute. How can I get more attached to Krishna? That's the key. You have to think of Krishna's amazing qualities, his amazing features, his amazing beauty, his power, his renunciation, his knowledge, his wealth, his fame. Amazing qualities of the Lord. Vainam kvanantam aravindalaya taksam varhavatam samasitam buddhasam danangam kandanpakoti kamaniya visheshushoram govindamadi purusham namaham bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who is adept at playing on his flute, with blooming eyes like lotus petals, head decked with peacock's feather, with a figure of beauty tuned with the hue of blue clouds, and whose unique loveliness is charming millions of cupids. Just think of such a person. By his flute he can charm even the animals. We see famous musicians in this world, they can attract big followings like the Beatles or Bob Dylan. They attract huge followings, but are the animals attracted? Go down to the zoo and play the Beatles album and see if the animals get excited by it. Put on a famous Beatles song for all the animals at the zoo. See if they get all excited. Yeah, they could care less about it. But when Krishna plays his flute, the human beings, the animals, even the plants go into ecstasy. Just imagine what is the power, the beauty of this flute. How powerful the beautiful flute, the sounds coming from this flute are. They charm the whole universe. So there's nobody comes even close to Krishna. He's unparalleled in every way. He's one without a second. No one can compete with Krishna. Ajam purana purisham navayogam. Vedeshu durlamam durlamam apapakto govindamani purisham. Krishna he's inaccessible to the Vedas. He's obtainable only by pure unalloyed devotion of the soul. He's without a second. His form is not subject to decay. He's without a beginning. His form is endless. He is the beginning, the eternal Purusha, yet he is a person possessing the beauty of a blooming youth. Can you imagine somebody whose form is endless? What does that mean? That means this room right now we're sitting in is within his form. His form is endless. It encompasses all of existence. But yet he's in one place doing one thing. In a million different places at the same time. In one place he's lifting Govardhan Hill. In another place he's spending the evening with one of his queens in Dwarka. Another place he's on the battlefield of Kurukshetra speaking. So just try to become more and more attached to this amazing person, Krishna. And then all your problems will go away, all your anxieties will go away. If you're in anxiety, it simply means you don't love Krishna. You see, if we are in anxiety, it simply means we don't love Krishna. We have to learn how to love Krishna. Right now we love Maya, we think Maya is great. Maya Devi, I love you. We think Maya is great. Oh, I love Maya so much. She's so beautiful. But we have to understand, what is that beauty? It's only skin deep. Okay. How to know your confidence in Krishna and not get overconfident. Well, we should have zero confidence in ourselves and unlimited confidence in Krishna. There's no such thing as being overconfident in Krishna, but we are overconfident in ourselves for sure. You have to become more and more confident in Krishna by increase you have to associate with more, that's all. You want to increase your confidence in Krishna, you have to more and more associate with him at every minute. Try to always get more and more associated with Krishna. By remembering him, bowing down to him, by reading about him, by chanting his glories, by going to his holy places, by serving his deity form, by spreading his movement all over the world. Just try to get more and more connected with Krishna, you see. Because the more you're connected with Krishna, the more you can see everything in its proper perspective. And not be illusioned by Maya's charms. How to differentiate if impurities like lust, anger, are going away from the heart, or just hiding in the heart. Yeah. Am I really getting free from lust, or is I being fooled by Maya into thinking that I'm getting free from lust? Bhakti parishvanu baro bharaktir nanyattachai shatrika eka kalaha. The word is viraktir. Viraktir. It means you're becoming completely attached to material sense gratification. If you're actually becoming detached from material sense gratification, and your feelings of love for Krishna are becoming more and more manifest within your heart, and you actually are beginning to experience Krishna everywhere, within everything, then it's genuine. Otherwise, you may think, I'm pretty advanced, Prabhu. I think within a few weeks I'll be Paramahamsa. Then Maya is tricking him. Actually, when Brahmachari, he told me one day, in the Brahmachari ashram, he said, they just call me the Paramahamsa Brahmachari. And before, within a year he had left ISKCON, he never even seen at a festival, a speaker, practicing strictly. So yeah, one has to not become very proud. Oh yes, Prabhu, I'm really advanced now, Yes, advanced in dashes. The more you think you're advanced, the more you're a neophyte. And the more you think you're a neophyte, the more you're advanced. So try to actually see how much of a neophyte you actually are, and that's how you become more and more advanced in Krishna consciousness. What to do, or how to stop worrying if the materialistic basics needed money for family aren't enough due to lack of inability to attain a job. Well, you have to think, I'm suffering material pinch right now because of my previous sinful activities. I'm actually burning off the reactions from my previous sin by this suffering condition I put in. But you should think about Sudama. Krishna's godbrother, Sudama Brahmana. He was in a state of great poverty. But he never thought, oh, why is Krishna doing this to me? He just thought, I'm so fortunate that Krishna is my friend. He never thought of going to ask Krishna for money or anything. He just thought, I had Krishna as my friend. We were together in the ashram of Sandipani Muni. We had pastimes. He was just always remembering it. He never felt unfortunate. Even though he was in a very impoverished state, he never felt it. He felt himself to be the most fortunate person in all the three worlds. You understand? He never lamented, but his wife was in anxiety about the poverty. So to please his wife, who was also a devotee, he went to Dwarka. Not to ask for, she was thinking, if Krishna can bestow some wealth, so you should go see your friend. He wasn't thinking of going to ask for any wealth. Well, she wants me to go, all right, I'll go to see Krishna. It'd be very nice to see him, that's all. The point is, what do you want? Do you want money or do you want Krishna? What do you want? Money or Krishna? If your desire is money, Money, any rascal can get money. Not a big deal to get money. Prabhupada, the money is flying everywhere in the air, you just have to grab it. Any rascal can get some money. Not a big deal. But to get Krishna, that is only the rarest thing. Manushyanam sahastreshu kashtit jatati siddhaye jatatam pisidhanam kashtin manviti tatvataha. To get Krishna is the rarest good fortune. The devotee, actually Krishna will never let a devotee starve. He may put you in some difficult situation, that's for your purification. I remember my wife and I, we were in a very difficult situation. We had no house. We were living in a van. We had no place to live except some van. We had to park it in a campground at night, and we had no place. We were very impoverished, materially speaking, but we had Krishna. So we felt very wealthy. We were very poor. We had no place to we had to live in our van, that's all. We just had a van. A Volkswagen camper van. That was our home. We had no other home. We were very poor people. We had no bank account, no savings, just a few dollars in the hand. And put some gas in the tank, get to the... we were very poor, very poor. We took it as a great blessing. We're free to preach. Let's preach Krishna consciousness. So, anybody that doesn't have a job, I say, here, I'll give you a job right now. Here's your job. You must spend 40 hours a week looking for a job. Now you're employed. And don't worry, Krishna won't let you starve. So your anxiety is gone. Alright, I have a job now. I have to work 40 hours a week, diligently. You spend 40 hours a week looking to get a job. And somehow Krishna will feed me, I don't have to worry. He always feeds his devotees, so there's no anxiety. Maybe you're trying to live too high on the hog. Maybe you need to live more simply. Trying to live in a $2 million house. Maybe you need to come to a more reasonable standard of living also. You have to see. Sometimes the anxiety worry is caused by others. Family, employer, others who want to exploit, go off to go in the path. Yes. What's the best solution? To turn inwardly, ignore the attempts by others, and suffer silently? Or find alternatives that allow me to thrive in a positive and cooperative atmosphere? The real solution is inside, if you want to know the truth. Because I'll tell you right now, no matter what arrangements you make in the external realm, those will all ultimately fail you. They will all fail you in due course of time. All fail. Everything will be a complete failure in due course. So there's only one solution, and that's to change your consciousness. But, having said that, you should also adjust your external situation in such a way it facilitates your internal awakening. You understand my point? The only real solution is your internal awakening. That's the only solution for anxieties, because ultimately your body is going to fall apart, you're going to drop dead, and that's it. No matter what you do, whether you're a multi-billionaire, whether you're a powerful politician, whether you have, it doesn't matter what your position is, you're going to be a failure in this material world. Everyone's a failure. Nobody's successful in this material world. Everybody, they may think they're successful for some time, but everybody is ultimately a complete, total failure in this material world. Everyone's a failure. Alexander the Great was a failure, Napoleon was a failure, you see. Einstein was a failure. His science could not stop his great scientific knowledge could not stop his death. Everyone here, you will be a failure in this material world, guaranteed. So the only real solution you have is to change your consciousness. But you must adjust your external situation as best you can to facilitate that internal awakening. That adjustment you have to make. How can we increase the taste in the holy name? Well, it's very simple. The holy name is enchanting, isn't it? So the more you chant the enchanting holy name, the more you become enchanted. You have to chant more, that's all. I asked my disciple at the airport in South Africa, Padasevana Das, how many rounds is one supposed to chant every day? He said, oh, 16. Guru Maharaj said, no, you're in Maya. At least 16. Well, Maharaj, I got my 16 rounds done, so now I can space out the rest of the day. 16 rounds is the beginning. I read a letter that Prabhupada wrote to some boys in Japan. He advised them to chant the Hare Krishna mantra as much as possible, 24 hours a day. He said when you're taking your bath, when you're riding in the bus, when you're walking down the street, when you're doing something with your hands. That means not in the bead bed necessarily. You see, when you're doing something in your hands, you can also chant Hare Krishna. Now somebody asked me, they say, isn't that offensive though? To be doing something else while you're chanting Hare Krishna, isn't that nam aparad? The answer is no. Why would Prabhupada say to do it? It's nam aparad, it doesn't make sense. Your 16 rounds should be a complete focus. Just you and the name and that's it. At least 16 rounds like that. But throughout the day, you can chant Hare Krishna while you're taking bath, while you're doing this, while you're driving down the street, you can sing a kirtan. When you're going up the elevator, you can chant a Bhagavad Gita verse. If nobody's on the elevator, you can chant it out loud. If it's an elevator full of people, you can chant it very softly to yourself. You know? Just imagine you're going up the elevator and you're chanting. We actually timed it up the elevator in Mendoza, Argentina. That each floor was one Hare Krishna mantra. If you go up, fly, it's 5 mantras to get to the 5th floor, 6 mantras to get to the 6th floor. You see, you should just try to see how many more mantras you can squeeze into. Make it a challenge, like a game. How many more mantras can I squeeze into my day? Not that I've done my rounds and they're on the table, now I'm a good little Vaishnava because I got all my rounds in there. You're a rascal. If we're not chanting 24 hours a day, in one way or another, we're rascal. So we got to get out of our rascal state and get chanting more and more and more and more and more. And that's how you increase your taste. You see? Many people aren't even chanting 16 rounds. When I first got Japa Beat, I chanted 16 rounds the first day. Why put it off? What you waiting for? Somebody was told, well, you can't chant 16 rounds yet because you haven't advanced to that stage yet. You're only allowed to chant 8 right now because it only cleared you to that. No, you can immediately begin. If you have Japa Beads, you can immediately do 16 rounds. What's stopping you? Immediately. As we say, I just came from a Spanish-speaking country, immediatamente is the Spanish word, you say. Immediately. Chant Hare Krishna. Because Krishna is so sweet, Krishna is so relishable. Yeah, I understand that, but he's going to go off and love. What do you mean, rascal? Krishna's right here, right now. Don't you see him? And he's fully present in his name. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna is fully present. The Supreme Lord is personally present right here, right now, and you can associate with him at every minute. You have to have faith that Krishna is Krishna. The sound vibration Krishna is the person. You understand? The sound vibration Krishna is the person Krishna. There is absolutely no difference. The deity Krishna is Krishna, and the name Krishna is just as much Krishna as the deity and just as much Krishna as Krishna himself, because Krishna is Krishna. The name Krishna is the person Krishna, and you can associate with Krishna at every minute. What have you personally experienced in your deepest stages of trance? What have you seen, felt, heard, realized in that trance? Some people say, well, have you seen Krishna? They ask, have you seen Krishna? My answer is yes. I'm seeing Krishna at every minute in the form of the order I received from my spiritual master to spread this Krishna consciousness movement. That is my trance. How to be Krishna conscious and spread it. That's my trance. I'm in a state of trance 24 hours a day. How can I get out of Maya and be Krishna conscious and spread it? That is my trance that I'm in constantly. How can I get out of this nonsense material consciousness, become a pure devotee, and spread Krishna consciousness movement all over? That is my trance. Even though I'm trying to serve Guru and Krishna, still there is so much anxiety in this attempt. How is it that that anxiety different from material anxiety? Oh, it's completely different. The more you're in anxiety, how to become Krishna conscious, the more you're free from anxiety. So we want you all to be complete, total state of anxiety. How can I awaken Krishna bhakti within my heart? You must be absolutely, completely in anxiety about this. That's my request, you see. Now you must be in complete, 24 hours a day, you must be complete, total state of anxiety. How can I awaken my Krishna consciousness and stop being such a horrible, demoniac rascal? You see. That anxiety must always be in it every minute. And if you have that anxiety is a state of trance, no one feels. You see. You know that song, Gopinath? Gopinath, Mamani Vedana Shuno, Vishai Durjana, Sada Kamarata, Kichunahi Moroguna, Gopinath, Gopinath. Bhaktivinoda is in great anxiety. You understand? Bhaktivinoda is in a state of tortured anxiety. That I'm such a demon. I'm a sense gratifier. I have no good kichu, nahi, moraguna. I have no good qualities. You see? He's in total anxiety about this demoniac mentality which has completely conquered his heart. That's how he's singing. So, if you can be in that anxiety, why am I such a rascal? How can I be so stupid to be hugging Maya Devi like this? If you can be in anxiety like that, Krishna will come and bless you unlimitedly. And he will taste the sweetest happiness of every minute. See, something Krishna is blue in pictures. Krishna is deity's form, most of them black. Why are the deities black when the pictures are blue? Because the marble is black. That's why. Traditionally, deities are not painted. You just get whatever. The hands are painted in the eyes, but the deity's body traditionally is not painted. You get the natural color of the stone. If it's a white marble, you get a white Krishna. If it's a black marble, you get a black Krishna. If it's a blue marble, you get a blue Krishna. It's because the deities are not painted. You just get the natural marble. That's why. How does Krishna allow gossiping people who call themselves devotees of Krishna into the holy place? Actually, they're not allowed. They can't enter the holy place. So-called devotees who are just talking prajapa, they enter only the shadow of the holy place. Don't actually enter the holy place. But I got my ticket. I hired the taxi and I went to Vrindavan and I was talking nonsense all day. And I had a great time in Vrindavan, chatting with my friends about this gossip and that gossip. You never actually entered Vrindavan, sir. You never entered Vrindavan. The spiritual master is the revealer of the Dham. Unless one is actually surrendered to a bona fide spiritual master, you can't enter the Dham. You enter only a shadow of the Dham. It's like Ravana, he thought he kidnapped Sita. Did he really kidnap her? No, he got a Maya Sita. So he went to a Maya Vrindavan, Prabhu. He sat in the snack bar getting, eating pizza and ice cream. He had chocolate pie and ice cream and pizza, and he had a great time in the Holy Dham. Because you never really entered the Holy Dham. You never really connected with Krishna. You just use it as a place for sense gratification. I was looking for a wife, Went to Vrindavan looking for a wife. I had some nice time talking with the waitresses in the restaurant, MET restaurant, having pizza. You really didn't enter Vrindavan. You never went to Vrindavan. I never went to Vrindavan. Vrindavan is revealed by the spiritual master. So you have to have dust from the lotus feet of the spiritual master and the great acharya on your head. And then you can actually enter Vrindavan. Then you can actually enter the holy place. How is Krishna going to take them away from the pure devotees association? Krishna doesn't take anyone away. We take ourselves away. Krishna is trying to induce us to come to Him. Krishna is trying to induce us. So we have to learn to follow the heed. We have to heed, what Krishna wants us to do. We must heed Krishna. Now we are heeding Maya instead of heeding Krishna. Krishna is imploring us, please come to pure devotional service. Please come to me. You're my dear devotee. For millions of lifetimes you've been caught up in karma chakra, and it's caused me great grief to see you, my dear devotee, suffering in this way for millions and billions of lifetimes. I so much want, my dear devotee, but please come back to me. So we should not disappoint Krishna. We should not disappoint Krishna. We should think about pleasing Him instead of pleasing ourselves. And to give up our nonsense, independence, go back to Krishna. Any more questions? So we'll do a little wrap up, since there's no more questions. So now do you understand why you're in anxiety? Because you're identifying with your body, because you're taking the service to your senses to be your happiness. When your senses are fleeting, they're here today, you're gone tomorrow. This holy consciousness you have of who you are will be finished. You'll be snuffed out at any moment. It's like we snuff out a candle. This consciousness of bodily identification will be snuffed out at any minute. So you cannot base your happiness on your sense gratification. Our anxieties are simply based on this. We have to base our happiness on re-establishing that connection with that beautiful person round whose neck is swinging a garland of flowers beautified with a moon locket, whose two hands are adorned with flute and jeweled ornaments, whose graceful threefold bending form of Sham Sundar is eternally manifest. Thank you very much. One last question? All right, we'll squeeze it in. Krishna's kind. During Mangal Arati, why do we glorify the spiritual master instead of glorifying the Supreme Lord Krishna? This is, you're ignorant. You don't realize that that's how Actually, one sannyasi who was very critical of ISKCON, he said the same thing. One sannyasi who was asking, there was one sannyasi who said that ISKCON is simply after money. And he said the only sincere ISKCON devotees are the ones who leave ISKCON and come to me. There was a sannyasi who was telling all the ISKCON devotees that if we really want to be Krishna conscious, we have to leave ISKCON and join him. And he also made the same, he criticized ISKCON that we glorify the spiritual master of Mangalarti instead of Krishna. This is ignorance. This means you don't understand Krishna's teachings. See? Krishna clearly states in the Adi Purana, Ye me bhakti chana parata, na me bhakti state janaha, mag bhakchanam chi ye bhaktas, te me bhakti tamamata. He says, my dear Arjuna, the one who is my devotee, na me bhaktas, he is not my devotee. But the one who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. So, why? There's the answer. We do glorify Krishna. Because the more you glorify Srila Prabhupada, the topmost devotee of Krishna, Krishna becomes more glorified. You see. Krishna said, it's better you glorify my devotee than glorify me. So actually, the best glorification of Krishna is to glorify the devotee, Srila Prabhupada. So when you meditate on the spiritual master, on Prabhupada and your own spiritual master during Mangalarti while singing the Gavastakam prayers, you're doing the very best glorification of Krishna, the very, very best glorification of Krishna. And then once we've actually connected with Krishna by worshipping the spiritual master, then we chant the Panchatattva mantra Hare Krishna, and we directly glorify Krishna. The point is, you cannot directly glorify Krishna. You are not qualified. You have to glorify through his pure devotee, the spiritual master. Then you are qualified. So don't misunderstand that you're doing something wrong here. No, your thinking is wrong, sir. Your thinking is wrong. That we're not glorifying Krishna when we glorify the spiritual master. That is the very best glorification of Krishna. Don't think otherwise. Yeah?
I was saying, if you don't glorify the spiritual master, how would you going to chant Hare Krishna properly?
That's right. If they say, well, I think we're going to improve the Mangalarti, we're going to remove the Gravastakam prayers from Mangalarti. We're just going to chant Hare Krishna during Mangalarti because it's for worshipping Krishna. That's like saying, well, when we offer the arti, we'll take the spiritual master off the altar also. I mean, this means your chanting will be Nama Parada. That's all. If you want Shuddha Nam, you have to worship the spiritual master of Mangalarti. If you want to chant Hare Krishna purely, you have to sing Gravastakam prayers. Therefore, I instruct everyone. Everybody, if you don't live close to the temple, you can come to the Mangalarti at the temple. You should have Mangalarti at home. Even if it's just a 10-minute dupe arti. If you're on a tight schedule, getting to work and the kids to school, I understand householders, it's not easy to get out to balance everything. But even just a 10-minute Mangalarti, you see, a dupe arti in 10 minutes. Of course, if you have time, do a full arti. But even a 10-minute dupe arti, you can do the Gavastakam prayers and chant the mantras. So every morning, please, 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 do the Gravastakam prayers. Do yourself a favor. Worship the Srila Prabhupada and your spiritual master every morning, saying the Gravastakam prayers, meditating on the pure devotee of Krishna. And in this way, when you chant your japa, you'll be really connected with Krishna because you glorified the spiritual master first thing. So I don't need to glorify my Guru, I'll just chant Hare Krishna. You're not connected because you're jumping over the head of your spiritual master. There's already enough monkeys in Vrindavan jumping from branch to branch. Don't be another monkey. You approach properly through the spiritual master. You begin your day with Mangalarti. Of course, you can chant your rounds before Mangalarti if you want to.
Without spiritual master, you don't know anything about Krishna.
Yeah, we wouldn't even know about Hare Krishna if it wasn't for Prabhupada. How you cannot worship Prabhupada every day? You're just an ingrate. You don't want to worship Prabhupada in the morning? Every day? You don't want to thank him for saving us? That's an ingrate. You must worship Prabhupada every day, and your own spiritual master as well. As Saint Gravasta can prove. You have to show your gratitude. You know, otherwise you're just an ingrate. You're not giving back anything. You just want to take. You have to learn how to give, you see. You want to be in Vrindavan and every minute you have to know the giving. There's many das in Vrindavan, Kirti da, Yashoda, you see, the givers. Vrindavan means giving. Doesn't mean take. Material world is take. Vrindavan is giving. You see. You have to learn how to give. So you begin your day by giving your love to Srila Prabhupada. Giving your love to your spiritual master. Every day you begin. That's how you begin your day. The auspicious arati, Mangal arati. Every day. I've been observing Mangal arati every day for 43 years. And how many of you... Huh?
I'm not giving the number. I was just thinking, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Acharya mam vijaniyam. No manyata karhichi.
The Acharya is my very self.
Yes.
There you go, there's the answer. I give a long-winded answer, she gives a short-winded answer. She answered your question, Acharya mam vijaniyam. There's the answer right there. I had to go 10 minutes. In 10 seconds she can answer, it takes me 10 minutes. That's why I keep her on the road with me then. Help me learn how to be more concise. Okay, so now again, we'll stop here. Well, thank you all very much. I have some garlands to give away. You're the fellow president here. You're taking the burden on your head. Who wants this other one? Here you go.
So on behalf of ISKCON Scarborough, I would like to thank Prabhu for again gracing us with his presence today and for the wonderful talk, Stop Worrying, Start Living. Thank you so much, Prabhu, again.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. And also we'd like to thank the devotees who asked wonderful questions. Some of you asked the questions on behalf of others who have been asking you as well. And it drew wonderful responses from Prabhu. So we thank all of you for asking wonderful questions as well. So now we'll sing Narsimha Pranam because we have already finished the Arati from 8 to 8:30 behind the curtains. Prabhu, if you can sing.
Can I just quickly give you an overview of the program?
So in the GTA we have several programs of His Grace Shriman Sankarshan das Adhikari. So he's giving a seminar in ISKCON Toronto tomorrow at 6 p.m.